Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there my Crimsonites, how we doing today? We got an important message, an important show where we are going to be diving into a couple of different things. We're going to get into a couple of different things. I want to preface what I'm saying a little bit. That this is not some kind of attack on Christianity as a religion. Nor is it some type of attack on Christians as a group of people, as followers of Christianity. But what this is this is going to be something that I bring to the attention of everyone, because we don't understand as a community what the Black church used to be to us versus the shadow of itself that it has become. Okay. Now, recently, and in recent years in general, but recently, Marvin Winans, I want to say it's Marvin Winans, who, if you don't know who the Winans are, the Winans have been in the gospel and church space for so long. Okay, BB and CC Winans, they singers and all of this. They've done gospel and all of this good stuff. Okay. And so Marvin runs a church, right? This video has been going viral and it has garnered some criticism, but we're going to have a conversation about it. Now, right here, what you're looking at is someone decided to post more than just that very small clip, but to post like sort of everything in quote unquote context. In my opinion, it didn't make the situation no better. It actually kind of low key made it worse. But we're going to let you take a look at the clip that's been going around in case you don't know what I'm talking about.
We're going to do this a couple of ways. Those that have the 1,000 plus 1, that means you're coming with your 1,000 that you're giving, plus you've asked someone else to give. Now, you don't have to stop at 1,000, and we're going to deal. So in other words, if you say, Pastor Winans, I'm coming with my 1,000 plus another 3,000, then you'll say that. You understand? And if you didn't get plus 1, but you maybe came with $250, you're going to come say that this is my 1,000 plus 250. You with me? And we're going to go all the way down. So I need you, in order for this to work, I need you to come when you're called with the offering that we're We're going to do this.
I, Roberta McCoy, given faith and stand in unity with the vision of Perfecting Church of sowing this seed of $1,000 plus $235 and receiving the blessings to come to all that participated.
Now that's only $1,200.
Yes.
Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 plus 1,000.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna work on the other 800.
Well, that ain't what I asked you to do.
I, Roberta McCoy, given faith and
Is it me, or did she follow the instructions that he gave her? Number one, before we go on to the main issues that I'm going to point out, did she or did she not follow the instructions? Because see, I didn't like the gaslighting. I didn't like the gaslight. Am I the only one heard that? Am I the only one that heard him say, even if you have, let's say, your 1,000, and then maybe the second offering was $250. Did she or did she not follow the instructions as they were given? We heard him say it out of his mouth. She came up there following instruction to be put on Front Street and gaslit in front of everybody. And somebody thought that that was going to be somehow to shame her. She brought her 1,000, and then the secondary offering was less than 1,000, which he actually said was okay. He said that was okay. So she thought it was okay because he stood there and said that that was okay. And even if you weren't, even if it wasn't exact, you can't receive somebody money with more grace than that. We ain't got no more grace than that. We ain't got no more grace than that. That's how we talk to people. That's how we accepting people's offerings and donations and tithes. Now, here's my thing. I don't have a problem with a church organization, with a masjid or any of that, soliciting funding from the parishioners, from the worshipers that come there, from the community that the church is serving or that the masjid is serving. I don't have no issue at all with those people collectively funding the church that they attend, the masjid that they attend, because it costs to run those buildings. The taxes have to be paid. The building itself must be maintained. Not to mention the bills for the building need to be paid as well as if the church or the masjid runs any kind of community service or some type of school that they have, or any type of program that they have and things like that. They may need resources and things of that nature. So I don't mind. I have zero problem with the church looking to its members for, you know what I'm saying, we're going to fund it together. As long as that money is actually being utilized in the manner in which the worshipers believe that it's being utilized, they can see where the money has gone. They can see that these things were done. They can see that this program that the church wanted to put in place, you know, is actually active. They can see, y'all get what I'm saying. I don't mind that. And the amount of money that a church reasonably asks for, or a masjid reasonably asks for, depends upon the affluence or lack thereof of the community that is serving. Okay? So the function of the church in the Black community, one of the functions is to serve. It's supposed to serve the community by being a spiritual house that the people come to in order to worship, in order to be together and collectively worship God. We pray together and all of those things. We read the Bible together and all of that. This helps foster a sense of community. This helps foster a sense of family, a sense of togetherness, and things of that nature. That is what it is for, to serve the community in that capacity, but to also serve the community in a more tangible capacity. Okay? So if the church want to run a food program, or the church runs a program where they give X amount of dollars to families that come to the church that they know are in dire straits financially. Maybe somebody's rent needs to be paid before they get put out. Maybe a family needs food. Maybe a family, you understand what I'm saying? You're supposed to have come to the church. The people within the church, from the clergy on down, is supposed to have enough familiarity for the people and with the people who attend the church, especially regular churchgoers. They're supposed to have the rapport built with them, okay, that they become aware of. This family is in trouble. That family is in need, things of that nature. And we're able to come together to support our church members. We're able to come together to support the members of our community. Okay? All right? So those things, money and the church, or money and the masjid, in my mind, these are not things that need to completely be separated. They don't need to be completely separated, because they're not separated in our daily life. Your spiritual life is not separate, and it's not supposed to be separate than your physical life. As a matter of fact, your spiritual life dictate what your physical life is going to be and what it is. Okay? Because the same people that don't want the church to raise no money, you got to pay rent somewhere, don't you? You buying food? You buying stuff? Okay, then. Now, the purpose of the Black church in our culture historically has always been a source of service to the community. Chief among those services, like I said, it was the spiritual connection, the spiritual house, the spiritual seat of Black people. And I'm not here to banter with nobody about, well, this was the white man's will. I'm not here to talk about none of that. I need you to walk with me. I need you to walk with me. Because regardless of whatever kind of shortcomings that you felt like was going on in the church back in the day and all of that kind of stuff, or whatever kind of shortcomings you think Christianity itself has, Black people collectively believed. We're going to come back to that. And we had a better sense of community, of family. There was a better sense of accountability that we had before God and before each other. There was a better sense of decency. Okay? Now, we started looking at the decline of the Black church because at some point, we as a people, we as Black people in this country, American Black people, at some point, we decided that we didn't need God or that church. Now, folks can argue about at what point in our history we did that. We decided that we did not need God. We did not need the white man's God, and we don't need the white man's God, but we do need God. And we decided that God, or the concept of God, was unnecessary. It was a figment of our imagination. We felt like it was for the weak and for people who just a crutch for people to lean on because they were weak-minded and uneducated and they didn't know how the world worked. So they went to church. Church became for old people and kids and women. So at some point we decided as a group that we did not need any kind of spiritual seat. Now, the first area of failure was it becoming a Ponzi scheme. See, at some point, being the leader of a church became several things. It became a way to become rich. Independent wealth, not the wealth of your congregation, but independent wealth for you as the pastor or the bishop or the preacher or the whomever. Okay. It became a Ponzi scheme. It became a place where con artists could breed. It became a breeding ground for people who did not have the congregation's spiritual, the goodness of their spirituality in mind. So they started doing the prosperity preaching. And I don't know if that came about in the 80s or whatever. I can't pinpoint your time, but I remember when it became more prevalent. Here's the issue with prosperity preaching. The essence of prosperity preaching is essentially you have to believe that something that you want to happen will happen. In essence, you have to think it. Now, this is not wrong. This is actually correct. Anything we want, whether we want spiritual heights, money, health, we want to lose weight, we want to look better, we want to move somewhere, we want to do something or anything, everything that we want to do starts as a thought in our mind. We start thinking about it. Walk with me. Listen very carefully, because this works all the time for anything, whether it's good, whether what you want is good or bad, it will work. Everything that we wanted to do, you got to think about what you want. Let's say you want to lose weight. Let's say you are an overweight person and you say to yourself, I got to get my health in some type of order. I got to lose this weight. I got to lose this weight. Before you pick up a weight, before you go to a gym, before you do a class, before you try to eat different food or whatever it is, before you try to do that, the first thing that you have is a thought about that. And you don't have one thought. You have thoughts all day, every day. You think about your weight, your health, and how you got to get it together. It start bothering you. So you start thinking more and more and more about that thing. This is a generation of energy for that thing. Okay? We call it getting thicker. Thicker is concern. To generate a thicker, to have thicker for something, is to have concern over it. To start gearing your energy in that direction. So a person that is overweight, that wants to lose weight, starts generating energy. This is before any gym. They start generating the energy. The energy is coming from here. It's coming from here. Because then they start getting convicted to the thought. They start repeating the thought so much that they become convicted and convinced that they must lose this weight. They have to. And they got to start. They got to start. Now, the thought of losing weight starts dictating their actions. Okay? They've repeated them. They've looked in the mirror. They've been disappointed. They've looked that I got to get this under control. What can I do? So the first thing they start doing is, let me find some YouTube videos, or let me find a gym to go to, or let me look at some, let me do what is weight loss stuff. They start looking at weight loss stuff. Okay? And then they start going towards making effort, making a physical effort to try to get to a place where they want to be. They even envision the type of body they want to have. So a man who want to lose weight may envision himself muscular and toned up and looking good. A woman may envision her Coke bottle shape and how flat her stomach gonna be, and she gonna lose all these rolls and all this kind of. He starts envisioning his future self, what he wants it to be, what she wants it to be. Now that they've established what the future self looks like, now they have to go from thinking about it to that reality. So they thought, and then they had emotion behind it, conviction, faith. They start getting faith. I will lose this weight. They go from, I'm trying to lose weight. See, when people say I'm trying to lose weight, they don't be losing weight. But when you get somebody say, I'm losing this weight, And they can be fat as all outdoors. But when they say, I'm losing this weight, they serious. Now they coming to the gym. I ain't say nothing to you, Siri. Sorry. Now they coming to the gym. Now they trying to eat healthier. You know, they trying to stay away from all that fried food. They trying to stay away from all them zoom zooms and wham whams. They ain't eating all them cakes. Okay? They shopping a little different. They trying to read the label and stuff like that. They making effort now. I'm explaining something to you. I hope that y'all are listening carefully. This is tying in immediately into what I'm talking about. I don't want to lose you. This is very important. Their thoughts started generating an energy. They went from, I might try to lose weight. I'm going to try to lose weight. Man, losing weight is hard. Into, I'm about to lose this. Man, I'm losing this weight. I got to lose this weight. There ain't no way. I got to lose this weight. And that action starts making them go to that thought, that conviction in their heart, make them move. It makes them move. In a year or two, or however long it takes, they become the image that they had in their mind 2 years ago about how they was going to look. That is what people call manifesting. That is what that is. And this is not some hocus pocus. I want y'all to understand this. Listen real careful. This is not hocus pocus that I just said. This is the way in which the Most High made us to operate. Doing that process, think about something. Think about it repeatedly until you become concerned over it, until it becomes a repeated thought in your head. And then start repeating it out of your mouth. Once you start saying it, get some conviction about it. Don't just say it. It's not just a hope or something that you just want. It's not a wish. It's something, you know what? I'm going to achieve that. I'm going to achieve that. And you start making up in your mind what you're going to do in order to achieve a goal. This is how we achieve goals. And then once we get the conviction in about what we're going to do, we start doing it. And then once we start doing it with that conviction, we actually get it. This formula is the formula that the Most High gave everybody to use in order to take from his treasures. This is how he gives us stuff. This is how he gives us stuff. This is how Jesus was walking on water. And then who was it you said? Peter. This is how Peter was walking on it. Not only Jesus was walking on it, Peter was walking. Why? Why? Because it was a thought. He saw Jesus doing it. So now it's possible. Now it's possible in his mind because his eyes saw it. His eyes saw Jesus doing that. So now it's a possibility in his head. It's not something not possible. This is possible. Now that he's seen it, this is definitely possible. So now he wants to do it. How can I do that? Well, first you got to have the thought, and then you got to have what you got to have? What was the next part that he needed to have? Somebody put it in the chat room. Come with me now. What was the other part that Peter needed in order to achieve? He needed faith. He needed faith. He needed a conviction that what I see, what I know about the nature of water does not exist, not real. It can be walked on like the ground. It can be walked on. I'm watching him do this. Jesus didn't say, oh, you can't do this because you ain't me. He said, no. Oh, come on, do it. He didn't tell him he could do it. He said, you could do it. Do it. And Peter stepped out on faith. Not on what he knew about water. Not on the fact that he know water not a solid. And that people drown in water. And folks sink in water. And stuff drop down to the water. The surface of the water is not a solid thing. He didn't think about none of that. He was thinking about God controls the water. And I have faith in God's power to give me the ability to do what I'm seeing. I believe it with all the conviction in my heart. And when he stepped out on it, he walked on it. He only began to falter when his what faltered. He only began to falter what started getting shaky. What started getting shaky? We got a lesson for you today. His faith. His faith. His faith. Not the water didn't change. The water was always the water. It never stopped being the water. The Bible tells us that faith and a work, faith without a work is dead. It doesn't yield anything. It doesn't give you anything. It doesn't get sitting there, oh, I believe it, and I want no. You have to do stuff. You have to do. Faith comes with a doing. If you want to bear the fruit of faith, it comes with a doing. Otherwise, it's a wish. Otherwise, it's a hope, a dream. Someday, one day, maybe. But when you have a faith and then you work on that faith, that is how you get things from the Most High. That's how you get stuff from him. That is why sometimes your prayer not answered, because you didn't have enough faith in it. You didn't believe you could get that. You didn't believe that God would give it to you. You didn't believe you were worthy to get it. You were shrinking your thought process on what you could do, what you was capable of doing. And this factor and that factor and these things ain't gonna work. And now, well, that's what you go to God for if you was just gonna focus on what could and couldn't happen, quote unquote, in your mind. What you go to him for? Go to God for what? You don't believe it. You don't actually believe it. How many times? See, we think it's a far off thing that what God talk about in the Bible and in the Quran, when he talk about the miracles and stuff like that, that we think that's we think it's a fairy tale, honestly. Honestly speaking, the majority of people think that that's not real, that wasn't real. They try to rationalize it. Oh, he didn't really do, you know what I'm saying? The dead wasn't really raised, and he didn't really walk on the water. The other prophets didn't really, come on. God said he was able to do all things, all. Not some, not a few things, not things here and there. God said he was able to do all things. Allah is kulli shay'in qadir. Now, how does that tie back? Prosperity preaching works. It works because that's the formula. I just gave you why it works. Now, how it is being used, how that energy is being used. I told you that you can use it for good or you can use it for evil. Just like just about anything else, it can be used for good or it can be used for evil. You can use it to help and to further positive things, or you can use it to hinder and destroy and have negative things. Women are a key factor because women are emotional. Women provide the emotional energy to get the thoughts, to give the thoughts the power in order to manifest it. What am I talking about? Because the congregation is full of women, but that pulpit is full of who? For the vast majority of churches still, that pulpit is full of men. The congregation is full of women, but that pulpit is full of men. And it is not full of the correct kind of men. It is full, not everybody, obviously not everybody. I'm not talking about every single preacher in every single church, okay? But for many, and I'm going to have to say the majority, because if the majority of churches was operating the way they should, the Black community wouldn't be in the problems they in. So the majority are not operating as they should. They don't serve God and they don't serve the community. Women are an emotional powerhouse. We are an energetic powerhouse. All you gotta do is point us somewhere and make us buy into it up here, and we will give it all the energy you can handle. We'll just do it. We'll just do it. All you got to do is make us buy in. Make us buy into it up here. Make it to where this is our purpose too. And this is a good purpose, and it's something that we need to be doing and we need to be getting behind. Women will do this. This is why the congregation is full of women. However, the congregation of the church has always been full of women. The women have always been there. The women didn't leave it. The women did not leave. Okay? At some point, a certain demographic of men actually left it. Okay? But not all the men left. There were men who remained behind. And of those men, there were those who saw an opportunity not to help, not to stop the decline of the church, but to further it and gain their own personal wealth off of the death of the church. Okay? So that's part one of the decline of the church and how it is failing the community, the con artist. Okay? The scam artist. The one who said, I can make millions of dollars here. This is a new crop of people. Like, this is a new monetary opportunity for me. They capitalized. And then we began to see the true birth of the mega church. The mega church. If you could get you a mega church, you in like Flynn. And it wasn't just Black people, because we got a whole lot of white preachers do the same thing. But we're not talking about the white ones right now. Okay? to get you a mega church to attract these people and convince them to use the religion to misuse, not use, to misuse the religion. And in this case, the religion is like spiritual power plus emotional energy. This is a powerful combination. Spiritual power and belief, and the emotion that your religion and your spirituality generates. Powerful. Powerful. This energy can be used to do anything. And many have decided to use it for their own personal gain, to the detriment, to the spiritual death of the community that they supposed to have been serving. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back because I'm going to get to these super chats. Well, after these messages, we'll be right back because I need everybody to go to ashkicking.com. The link is pinned to the top of the chat to keep your skin looking, feeling, smelling its absolute best and looking all moisturized and silky. You need this body butter that's on the screen right now. If this is going to be your first order, please take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson at checkout. Once again, the link is pinned to the top of the chat, ashkicking.com. I owe you guys a bam, 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 bam. You gotta hit the like button, bam, bam. You gotta go ahead and hit the like button. Let me get to these super chats real quick. Thank you, Ty Boxing. So that's a devil posing as a minister in the name of the church. Thank you, sis. So according to the Bible, tithing is only to be given 3 times a year, and it was crops and livestock, not money. Money is an offering, and this not required. These pastors give folks the okie doke as far as money. And I hear what you're saying, but in today's time, we don't got livestock and crops. Those of us who are wealthy, we got money. Because even at that time, the livestock and the crops was the money. That was money. Because those were the valuable things that you traded for. So since they were so valuable, you could actually give that as a tithe and an offering. Because it was valuable. Somebody's going to be able to use a goat or, you know what I'm saying, a couple of lambs or whatever you get out of your harvest, your harvests and things of that nature. This is going to be valuable. So I hear what you're saying, but it would kind of have to be money now. Even if you were still going actually according to the law, nobody actually has crops and livestock at this point in terms of that being an indicator of your wealth and being able to part with it. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I appreciate the comment. Thank you, Bernard Gohar. So no man standing next to her, just her son. Because ain't no way a man is allowing that much disposable income to leave his household. Thank you, Nuke. So when given large amounts, it's easier to fund particular ministries within the church without public announcement than to go through all of that. And thank you, Bakish, for your super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you, HVAC. Said we left when we saw BS. And for those that want to know where Dr. Umar got his blueprint from, this is where. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate everyone for their contributions. So the decline of the Black church, we getting around to it. So we know that it is used inappropriately, improperly. At some point in time, the men left the church. Instead of seeing its decline and saying, we're going to stop this decline. We're not going to allow the church to do this. We're not going to allow certain things to happen here because this is our spiritual seat and we cannot give it up. See, that's the whole thing. We as a collective community somehow decided that the church and by extension, God was not necessary anymore. It was not necessary. We just didn't need it. It just wasn't important no more. We didn't understand what it was that we had. We didn't understand the power that we were actually generating from. Rainbow community. The main issue here is the concession of the church to what it knows is wrong. The problem with the rainbow community in the church is the church conceding, bending to what it knows is wrong. See, it's always been gay men in the church and gay women in the church. But there were not gay pastors in the church. The clergy, no. If they hid it so well. They hid it so well. You always kind of knew that the choir director might have been a little fruity, We kind of knew. But what we didn't do was we did not broadcast it and we did not celebrate it. We did not celebrate it. Everybody knew that if that is where you were with that, you didn't bring that to church. You didn't try to perpetuate that. You didn't try to get other people involved. You didn't try to do that. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. We was going to pray for you to be delivered. Now you can be in the church because who is we to tell you can't worship God? But at the same time, we are not going to promote that and perpetuate that as a part of the teachings. We're not about to sit here in this pulpit and tell people that you can do that and that God is all right with that. No, that's what we're not going to do. That's what we're not going to do. That is what we did not do. You might have known sister such and such and brother such and such may have been on the down low or something like that, but that was between him and God in the quiet of his life. He had to deal with God with that. And however God deal with him is how God will deal with him. But we was not going to allow no flamboyant foolishness to be going down in the church. We're not doing it. It was not just some of the worshipers may have been, in the LGBT community and things of that nature. It was the collective consciousness of it was the church enabling it. And I'm gonna tell you how they did that, or what bludgeon was used for the people who did not agree with that people are supposed to come as you are. Come as you are. This is why we got hoes in the church that don't mind being hoes in the church. This is why we got them coming in dressed like they just came from the strip club. See, back when I was young and we was going to church, I was raised in the church. Back when we was going, you could not come in there with no skin tight, your legs out. You couldn't do none of that. You couldn't do none of that. We had a such thing as church clothes. You understand me? And if you did not have proper church clothes, a church mother would give you some. You got to put on a skirt or something. Baby. No, that's too short now, baby. We got this skirt here. You can take it off when you leave. But if you're going to sit there, you got to kind of put something on. All right, baby? And we didn't care how you felt about it. The church mother was as nice as she was going to be with that. But you still going to put it on. You want to sit here, you're going to put it on. Now, we ain't going to turn you away because you might be coming in here to, God give you a breakthrough. Okay. But you're going to wear this skirt with that breakthrough. I seen in my church, they ain't have no skirt. Somebody went and got a spare choir robe and put it on us. So you sit right there. Couldn't do that. My point is, there was a standard. And everybody had to meet it. Whatever sins you did in the darkness, you go to God with that. We pray for you. That God deliver you out of sin. But we're not going to condone it. And we're not going to let you come in this church house any kind of way. We're not going to let you come in here and do anything. You can't be dressed like anything. You're not going to say anything. You know. No, you cannot. And the giving up of the standard to what we know is wrong. We know it's wrong. We know you can't have no gay preacher. We know God. All that trying to turn the word around to make it to where, you know what I'm saying, it's acceptable. No. The standard was not held in the church. We can't control what you do out of church. But in here, you're going to act right in here. You're going to act right if you ain't right in here. That's what you're going to do. And we don't want to hear nothing else. You don't like it? That's a strict church house. Yep. We didn't used to have female preachers and pastors. Nope. No. Gave in to feminism. The women can do. No, that women cannot. No, the women cannot. The women had their role. And it was a very important role in the church. The church has always honored Black women's role within it. Big Mama and the church mothers and the church aunties and things of that nature have always been honored in the Black church. Always. The women were never denigrated in the church. Not no church I never known. Not the culture I grew up in. No. You loved the women of the church. We never denigrated those women. We never denigrated those women. We never said that those women was low or that those women was unimportant to the church. We understood the importance of the women and the women's role within the church and within the community to that capacity. because we would direct the young girls to the older women. Go to sister such and such. Yeah, sister Ernestine will help you. Head on over there, baby. And all of that. So there was no need to try to bolster the position of women in the church because it was never low. It was always high. The church women was the most respected women in the whole community. The church women. If you knew that woman was a church-going woman, and you knew that woman had, fellowship in that church, you didn't mess with that woman. You didn't think ill of her or nothing. You respected her. She was a respected, church-going, God-fearing woman. And you were going to do right by her. And you were going to talk to her right. The bending to things that we know was wrong. That's where the real problem. See, that's where the real problem was at. The lack, I'm going to tell you why. People want to talk about why Black people of today can't manage to make communities. We can't build, in essence, another Rosewood. We can't build another Tulsa. Why we can't do that? Why we can't do that again? We have more money, supposedly, more resources than we had right out of slavery and Reconstruction and the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. Up until right about like the 50s and the beginning of the 60s. We wonder why we can't do that anymore. This is why we can't do it anymore. Because we lack a spiritual base. We lack that. Somehow, God is just not important to us. We think it's a fantasy. We think it's a fairy tale. We think it's a crutch. We think it's for, like I said, it's for weak people, babies, and women, and old people. It's not for us who out in the real world, who got to do real stuff and who got to do real. God, we ain't going to sit there and pray. Pray for what? Read that Bible for what? Listen to that preachers get up there for what? I ain't going over there. Okay. But notice that the lack of spiritual base and the corruption of our spiritual house as Black people has ruined our ability to form community and family. The reason why all this foolishness has taken such a foothold with us as a group is because we don't think we need God and spirituality no more. We got so caught up in trying to chase a dollar, and then we're chasing it under the lost value system. We're chasing the dollar under the lost value system where spirituality don't got nothing to do with your wealth. We divorced it somehow. Somehow, some way, we divorced our spiritual link to God, our communion with God, our prayers to Him, our belief in Him, our faith. We divorced the faith from the work. And when you divorce faith from the work, the faith dies. That dies. When you divorce the faith from the work, the faith die. You can get your money, but no more faith. Because you'll have what you desire. You'll have it. God will give it to you. God giving you $1 ain't hurt him. He ain't bothered about that. He'll give you the $1. He'll give you $1 if you don't believe in him a day. How many evil people that don't believe in God got plenty of money? He'll give it to you because you want it. He'll give it to you because you desire it so strongly and you work towards you desire it strongly. You deal with it. You emotional about it. I want to do it. He give it to you. He give it to you. Okay, know about that. But the faith die. When you separate the faith from the work, the faith is the thing that dies. But the reality is that it's a wheel. Number 1, spiritual, and number 10, wealth are connected immediately so, directly so, not indirectly, directly so. It's not indirect. It's not indirect. You are not supposed to divorce your spiritual base from anything that you receive. Because if we go back, the spirituality is the base for everything. You want good health? Fix your spirit. You want good family? Fix your spirit. You want get good appearance value? Fix your spirit. You want good dwelling value? Fix your spirit. You want more mobility? Fix your spirit. You want a better education? You want to know more? You want to be able to have more intelligence or have more knowledge? Fix your spirit. You want a better profession, or you want your profession to be positive for you? Fix your spirit. You want good leisure. You want your leisure to be positive. You don't want to get in trouble. You want to be able to be rested. Fix your spirit. You want more wealth. Fix your spirit. Everything you want, fix your spirit. If it ain't going right, fix your spirit. Fix the energy that you're approaching it with. If your marriage is on the rocks, stop saying, my marriage is bad. My marriage is bad. It'll be bad. My wife ain't no good. My husband ain't no good. Fix your spirit. Stop saying that. Stop repeating that. Repeat something else. I got a good husband. I got a good wife, and my marriage is gonna work. Repeat that. Get that stuck in your head. Then get it stuck in your heart. Then put energy towards it, and that will change. Stop going to God doubtful. Stop going to God to ask God to do something for you, and you don't believe he gonna do it. Then he won't. He won't. He tell us that in the Bible. He tell us that. He tell us that. He tell us in the Bible. He tell us in the Quran. This ain't no hocus pocus that I'm talking about. This ain't no weird. This not weird. God told you how to get stuff from him. He told you exactly how to do it. Then he sent his prophets to demonstrate it pragmatically and practically in front of you. He told you how to get stuff. In the Quran, he tells us this world is an amusement. It's an illusion. It'll delude you. If you only focusing on what your eyes can see, you'll be deluded. You'll be thrown off, because the stuff you see is not even it's not even what you think it is. It's not even what you think it is. He tells us that in the Quran too. He tells us that in the Bible, and he tells us that in the Quran. He gives us the formula to do. He told us to do it. Why do you think he told Muslims to pray 5 times a day and repeat the same thing? Why? For the Muslims. For my Muslims. Allah's instruction is to make salah a minimum of 5 times every single day that you can possibly do it. The women on your, we know when we have our menses, we don't do it. And in that prayer, we say the same Surah Fatiha. We got to say Surah Fatiha every rakat. Every rakat we got to say. You repeat it until you believe it. Not 1 time, 5. And you're saying it more than 5 times because you're saying it in each rakat. Muslims, do you hear me? You say the Fatiha until you believe it. You have to repeat it over and over. Allah calls some of the ayats and the surahs of the Quran the oft repeated. It's the oft repeated. Allah repeats himself over and over and over and over and over again in the Quran. Throughout the Bible, it's repeated. Repetition, 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 because that is how human beings learn. And that is how we become convinced of things. We have to have them repeated. Where do you think marketing come from? Where do you think they got that? Where do you think that they got that? Where do you think effective marketing come from? They got to repeat something to you over and over. We remember them old jingles and them old, you know what I'm saying, commercials, because we saw them 50 times every day. Of course, we know where's the beef. We know what that's from. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. We know where that's from. Just do it. We know where it's from. We know where they got that from. They got that from Allah because Allah created us that way. You got to keep repeating stuff to us. That is how the human being not only learns things, but become convinced of things in their heart. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Do it again, do it again, say it again, see it again, say it again. And then we become convinced. And upon that conviction, we will act. We will act upon the conviction. That's how the human being learn anything. That's how the human being learn anything. How do we learn our timetables? How do we learn our timetables? Over and over and over and over and over again until you can recite them by heart. Until every time you see it, you can say it. But we as Black people have abandoned our spiritual power as a collective of people. And thus we have descended into foolishness, weakness, weak-mindedness, inability to stand firm on anything, the loss of our families, the loss of our community. That's all on the back of spiritual decline. And now it's we like, well, it's gone now. We associate spirituality with weakness, with a lack of intelligence. We associate it with a lack of, you know what I'm saying? It's not firm no more. We mock spirituality. We mock it. We mock it. We don't even believe in the spiritual world at all. We believe only in this physical world. Exactly. It's still not gone. It has never gone anywhere. We stopped. God didn't stop. God did not stop. The Most High never stopped. He's always Him. Allah is always Allah. No beginning, no ending. It don't stop. We stop. We decide that He's of no importance and we don't need Him to do things. We decide that we can do it on our own. We can make up our own rules and we can do our own thing, and ain't nothing bad supposed to come out of that. We think we can govern ourselves. We think we can figure it out, and we ain't never been able to figure it out. Never. But I'm going to leave you with this. Everything that we see, for those who don't believe in no spiritual world and imaginary, everything is imaginary and all that, everything that we can look at physically in this world was a part of somebody's imagination at some point. Everything. Somebody somewhere imagined that thing, and then they worked to bring it forth. They had faith that they could do it. It could be done. They just needed to find a way to do it. I'll give you a wonderful example. Airplanes. Let's just say history is correct and the Wright brothers invented airplanes. I'm not going to fight it. There was no reference point for airplanes. Where they see an airplane at? They didn't. You know what they saw? Birds. They saw birds. And they said, things can fly. can fly. Air travel. Them things, they travel by air. They don't walk where they need to go. I mean, they can walk, but they don't walk where they need to go. When birds need to go somewhere, they fly. And they're biologically designed to do that. They fly. Man should be able to fly, but we don't have wings. So how would we get up there? Because we want to get up there. We want to get up there. And I'm pretty sure that there was plenty of people to tell them that they was crazy. What do you mean fly? What do you mean? Fly in what? How? We gonna build a thing, and it's gonna have wings on it. It's gonna have like a bird, like a bird. Yeah, like a bird. What do you mean like a bird? Like a bird. You don't got no feathers. Obviously, we don't have feathers. But we gonna build something. We gonna make it. Because I done thought about it. I done thought about it in my head. We thought about that. We thought about somehow they flying. And we can do that. And lo and behold, they made that little contraptions and they wouldn't get off the ground. Nothing. Okay, they couldn't get the aerodynamics correct. Okay. It was flopping and flandering and they done crashed it. They had them little crazy seats on it. Okay. Nobody trying to get in there and sit down and do that. You ain't doing nothing. You running up and down the thing, running up down. It ain't took off yet. It ain't took off yet. But oh, what a feeling when they finally got one that got off that ground. Ooh. And everybody that didn't think that they thought them boys was crazy said, oh. Now we got Boeings, Airbuses. It's got all kind of technology on it. You can lay down and go to sleep in them. You can fly them and they be luxurious. They got all kind of technology in them and all kind of stuff. But somebody told them, I'm pretty sure quite a few people told them they was absolutely done lost their mind. What you mean? We ain't getting up in no air with no thing. With a what? Now we got all kinds of stuff that fly, drones. You ain't gotta have no person in it. All kinds of stuff. I bet you if them men was able to come back to Earth and see, oh, this is what y'all came up with. We had that thing and it was crazy. Y'all got bathrooms now? And they go fast too. They fast. We done upgraded the engine on them. And put them big jet engines on there. You know, we ain't even got the little prop engines, little propeller engine no more. We got them big old engines back there. You better not be standing there when it started up. We got jets that can break the sound barrier and all that. I know them boys did not think that was going to be like that. But my point is to say they thought of it. It was just in their head. Folks thought they was crazy. There was no reference point for that. Nobody had been on an airplane before. They never seen an airplane before. What's an airplane? What's that? Thank you, Rugged Tech. He said, did you ever check Gino Jennings out? I've only seen a few clips here and there about it. I don't really know how to feel about him. I guess some of the stuff he say could be considered controversial, but I don't really have too much of an opinion of him one way or the other. But thank you so much. Thank you again, HVAC. The church is filled with 2 categories, Black women and rainbow Black men, and this is a fact. Thank you, Charles, for your super sticker. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. You as well, Bernard. So I would argue that the forced removal of our leaders of faith who push for national political relevance, Malcolm, MLK, Newton, sent the message, take that faith down a notch or else. Black men left after that. Okay. I can actually see that because I was never giving a hard timeline or an event thing. It's kind of hard for me to think about it, but I can see that. Okay, I'm not gonna argue with you about that. That makes sense. Thank you so much. Thank you again, HVAC. Say you see this in the dating market. For example, weight issues. If a Black man says I'm not dating or marrying a fat woman, this is his standard, but he will get crucified. Standards are vilified today. This is true. Thank you, Sister Beshua said Big Mama and church aunties would never tell young women that cooking for her man is slavery. She would encourage them to make the dishes and the desserts that are served after service to attract a man. Exactly. Thank you again, HVAC said, how do you get stronger and stronger? Repeat it. Practice and practice is not rocket science. Exactly, HVAC. The same thing we do when we work out. You don't go work out one time to lose weight. You keep going back. And even if you don't have to lose weight, if you're just trying to get stronger, if you're just trying to look a certain way, you keep going back. Like you keep going over there. Repeat. Rinse, repeat. The formula is for everything. I don't know why we be getting distracted like it's not. It absolutely is. But thank you again, Bernard. Said congrats on reaching 120K. By the way, I remember when this channel was at sub 50K. That was a faith with works example. Thank you so much, and it was. Thank you. Said thank you, J10. So I'm sneaking and peeking back and forth in your live while I'm at work, but I had to pay my respect to you and your show. Thank you, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you as well, David, for your super sticker. Thank you so very, very much for everyone that contributed. For everyone that contributes at all to the show. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Jump down in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host of The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.